Wondering how you can become better at running your business? Entrepreneurship can be stressful. There's too much to do and not enough time. If you're isolated in your daily decisions, have no fear. Success and balance are possible. Welcome to the Small Business Answer Man podcast, where you master the art of running a successful business using practical advice from experts who want to help you succeed. Now, here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
Well, as we know, second quarter is moving right along, and I told you this quarter we're going to concentrate on what I call the 6P business owner formula. And that 6Ps are people, promotion, pricing, productivity, profit, and processes. Well, today we're going to work on you as the business owner. And I think we've got a guest that's got a lot of knowledge and information they're going to share with us on how we can create better in our own personal life. So Maria, if you would share with our listeners today, what problem will you help them solve today?
Today, we're going to work on answering the question, how do I solve my work-life balance issue? As a business owner, I know you're always on the hamster wheel. We're always rushing around and we never take time out to really find importance to ourselves, our family, our kids, our lives. We don't want to turn around and at the end of our life be like, what happened? You know what I mean? So this is kind of something that we always shove under the rug. We don't have time for it. We say we're going to get to it later. And it's just something that we never really take the time to do. We need to really set intention around our work-life balance. And I always say to people, we are often a human doing. We're always doing, but we really are human beings. We have a mind, body, soul, and we are here to create and to live a life that is full, that is joyful, that is fulfilled, that is successful and purposeful. And in order to do that, we really need to be in touch with ourselves and really take time out for ourselves to balance how much doing we do at work. So we really, at the end of our life, we leave a legacy and we really enjoy ourselves.
Well, I know I'm going to love this conversation because Maria and I got to know each other at a conference. And the thing is, this is about you folks. So don't tune away, listen up, because this is about you becoming a better you in this self-care area and stuff. So Maria Zunda is our certified high performance coach. She's a teacher and a speaker. Her focus is on inspiring and empowering you to become who you always wanted to be. Maria helps others transform by giving them permission to connect with their inner authentic self, to believe in their own power and their possibilities for change, to dream again, to create that and rewrite their soul story to become their full potential, igniting their best self and living their best life. Maria, it is great to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Gary. I'm so happy to be here. I mean, one of my favorite quotes after your beautiful intro is from George Bernard Shaw, which is, life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And in order to create who you want to be, you need to set intention around that. You really need to dig deep and really figure out who you are, what you want, and how you want your life to go.
Yeah, I love that, because that's the key, is because if we know we're talking a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs on my podcast, but the thing is sometimes they do get on that hamster wheel you talked about, and how can we get off of that and really change it? So I'd kind of like to start out with the first question is that I really want to ask you is, how important is it to get off that hamster wheel? You kind of talked to that doing side that we do all the time and become more in that place of being. How can we try in our authentic self?
Right. Okay. So I think there's lots of things to do to disconnect, right? We really need to disconnect so that we can re-engage better and come back better. But the first thing is awareness, right? We really need to disconnect and find some time to figure out these are some questions I always ask my clients and I always ask myself, which is, who are we? Mm-hmm. What do we want? Who and what do we value the most? What's really the primary importance in our life? Is it having great relationships? Is it having a successful business? Is it being joyful and happy within? Is it being fulfilled? Like, what is it for you? How do you define joy, peace, and fulfillment for yourself?
Mm.
And we always, in business, we're like, oh, we want to be successful. We want to be successful. But like, sit down and really think about, what does success mean for you? Because I guarantee that if we put 20 business owners in a room, success is going to mean something different for each and every one, right? So this is really, we have our own DNA, we're individual, we have our own gifts and talents, and really these questions can only be answered by your listeners, the business owners, right? And ultimately, what kind of business do you want to have? I mean, I ran a business with my ex-husband for 20 years. It was branding and design. We had up to 20 employees. And, sometimes the bigger you get, the more stress there is, right?
Mhm.
And then at the end of the day, you're kind of thinking to yourself, what's the sweet spot of this work-life balance thing? What number of employees makes us happy and successful and fulfilled, but also doesn't, make us get it, in the hospital with like having a stress test, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, I really just wanted to say, like, awareness is really, really key. And you have to you are in charge of your own life. You're in the driver's seat. So it's really up to you. So awareness is number one. Number two is perspective, right? If we take the time to disconnect and take a time out, when we come back, right, we see things with different eyes, right? Sometimes we have different colored glasses that we see. So this quote that I really love, I think it's by Wayne Dyer, but don't quote me on that. When we change the way we look at things, often the things we look at change, right? So if you are like stressed about some really crazy little nitty situation at work, and you take a break and you come back and you realize, you know what, that wasn't such a big thing, right? And then you realize the big things are really small things. And then sometimes the small things are really the big things that we really should be focusing on. But if we don't time out, we don't have a different perspective when we come back. And lastly is legacy. I've done some work with some corporate clients, and, when we're in midlife and we've been running a business for a long time, we really kind of sit back and say, wow, like, how many more years do I want to work? How do I want to transition this business? What legacy do I want to leave? What do I want to be known for? What do I want my kids to remember me about? So, legacy is a big deal. And if you don't take time out, get off the hamster wheel and really try to find some quiet time within yourself, you're never going to get there. You'll be at the end of your road and you'll be like, wow, I never thought of this. I should have thought of this 20 years ago.
Yeah, some great information there. And the thing is, I want to just say awareness, perspective, and legacy. And there's a lot of questions that go into that. But one of the things you really bring to mind is to think again, because the hamster wheel doesn't allow us to think. Not
Right.
only about our business, but not even in our life. And so we just stay on that, and we're doing things that really we don't have to do as business owners. And we really have to take a hard look at that. And I'm kind of glad you're coming in this, because I've had several other people this quarter talking about those type of things. And they're talking more about it in the business setting. What
Right.
we're really now is talking about you.
Right.
And I set up the podcast that way, is how can you make yourself more effective, not more busy, but more effective. But it takes time to think and really see what that perspective is. So if you've got a vacation coming up, it could be on that, or just telling yourself, take a couple of days away from the office and ask yourself these questions that Marie has given us.
Yeah. I mean, just take a day and disconnect and get off your cell phone and your computer and really don't connect, and just, sit down and take yourself to a, offsite place and be with yourself in nature, or sit outside and journal. But really, just take some time to think about this, because I think the stronger you are as a person, the better your business is going to be in the long run, right?
Well,
So-
that's great information. I appreciate you sharing that, Maria. You're listening to the Small Business Answer Man podcast. We'll be right back with our podcast shortly. And now back to the show. Maria, we've had some great conversation of really setting it up, but I think some of the things I'd like to discuss with you is, what are some ways now that we can migrate, though, from that doing? Because they've heard us and they know what we're talking about, but they're still on the hamster wheel. So how can they move from that doing to being, and how can I make that inner peace a part of my daily life? And what is really required to make that happen?
Well, intention is the big deal. Like, you still have to start there. You have to be like, I want to bring peace into my life. It's important. If it's in the top 3 or the top 5 of what's important to you, because stress isn't going to help us, right? Stress isn't going to make us a better business owner. Stress isn't going to help us be a better husband or wife. It's not going to do it, right? So the first thing is intention, but really what I like to do, and you may have, shared this with your business owners, is really block time each day for you. And it could be in the beginning of the day, it could be the end of the day. It doesn't really matter, but you need to take time out for yourself. And it could be 20 minutes, could be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long time. But some things that I like to do is basically start off my day on a positive note, right? Really be intentional about the day. I know what's ahead. I get myself organized and I meditate, really breathe, get in tension with my breath. I connect with nature. I walk in the morning. I have a puppy, so I'm walking out there, connecting with, the wind and the sun and the trees. And sometimes I sit down and journal. I just do free journaling. There's no question, just whatever wants to come out, whether it's something that was bugging me, from last night and I couldn't sleep, or whatever it is, just journal, just get it out. Really just, be quiet, spend some quiet time, put some music on, no TV, no cell phones, no computers, no distractions, really. Just, find what it is for you to block your 20 minutes a day. I know we talk about block time and efficiency and trying to get stuff done and productivity, but this is block time for you. Second thing is exercise, right? Exercise is important. And we know that it gives us good endorphins. It's good for our mind, our body, our spirit. But not only does it get us healthy, but it clears our head. It gets us into, it has good motivating self endorphins, and we feel like we're energized and we're ready for our day. So exercise is a big deal for me. I have, like, if I'm not exercising every day, I'm just not feeling good, mind, body, spirit, right? And lastly is, just start your day have an intention to start your day in a positive way. I know when you're a business owner, you have employees, it's really easy to bring in the drama. I would say, do not allow negativity in, stay in your lane. Let's focus at the task at hand. Each person is creative, resourceful, and whole, and they can figure it out, okay? My ex-husband used to have a sign on the door that said, the psychiatrist is not in today, right? So figure out your own problems, right? You can figure it out yourself. We have faith in you that you can do this. Communicate, 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 and really just do not engage in negativity. Like, set that intention, like, I'm going to have a positive day. I am not engaging in drama. I am not engaging in negativity. Like, it's just not happening for me.
Well, I love those. And I love that last one, because that positivity, that gratitude that you bring in really sets the tone for your day. And I love Zig Ziglar used to say, motivational speaker, and they'd always say, well, Zig, that motivation stuff doesn't last. And Zig came back right away and said, bathing doesn't either, but that's why I recommend it daily. Because we have to put it in. There has to be an intention to do that. And then what you're talking about with that quiet time and meditating, it's really what we've had. I used to have that as a question on the podcast, is what's one habit that's made the significant difference? And I will tell you, out about 70% of my guests that were on the podcast would say having some sort of morning routine. And
Wow.
what you're talking about is that block of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is for you, but that time is your time.
Right.
That allows you to really start your day with intention for the day and really setting that up. And it makes a big difference. I know for my life, it's made a big difference.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's like, it's your sacred time, right? I mean, you give the rest of your day to your business and your employees and your family, but this is sacred time for you to just go within, to get quiet, to be peaceful and still. And then your day is going to go better. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And a lot of business owners, when we say the word exercise, they might have tried to tune us out right then. But the only thing is, they know they need to do it. And the thing I want to tell you, because I've told my story too many times, I'm not going to tell the story. But what I found out when I lost 75 pounds and I started exercising, I was more creative and I created more opportunity in my business because of my creativity. Where before I was 75 pounds heavier. So guess what? The stress load was eating me alive. And guess what I did to my team then? I shared that same stress right over to them.
You
But
just pass it along.
exactly. But as I became started exercising, losing that weight, my creativity went up and then it increased the business and actually made it better. And that's the thing I'll tell about business owners. Plus, we need that for our mental health.
Right.
Exercise allows it for our mental health. So some great qualities that you talked about there.
Thanks.
Let's kind of go to the next stage of, we kind of talked about this and we've been really, all of it comes together in mind, body, and spirit, that they require that equal attention on a daily basis, that you really set us up there to be able to get that peace. And sometimes the hardest part though is breaking the constant thoughts that are running through our head. As entrepreneurs, they call it monkey mind or squirrel mind, the next best thing, we're to it and stuff. But how do I begin, and what would be some suggestions you would tell them for somebody that wants to start, besides what you said before there of, starting out your day? That's a big one.
Right. Well, I mean, I love this quote, right? Because we often have this monkey mind. We have all these thoughts running through our heads, but this quote by Mahatma Gandhi is, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values becomes your destiny, becomes your life, right? So we have to think about that quote just a little, think about it again. We start with our thoughts and it becomes our life. What we think is so important, and our belief system is so important, that we need to kind of sometimes shift our thoughts and shift our beliefs to really something more positive, and to something that is empowering and not disempowering, right? So the first thing I did, part of my story is I was a business owner for 20 years and then I got divorced. And in the middle of my divorce, I really realized that I was jumping off the hamster wheel. I was so stressed out, raising kids, running a business. And when I stopped all of that, I really realized all of these thoughts in my head, where did they come from? Was it really truly me, or was it conditioning? Was it life? So this book I'm going to recommend for everybody. It's Miguel Ruiz. It's the 4 Agreements, right?
Yes,
and these 4 agreements are super, super easy. I mean, they're very simple. The agreement itself is simple. It's super hard to do. But, like, common sense isn't always common practice. And we always think, well, we go to the gym and we should be ripped in a couple of days of doing it. No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to your muscles. It's not going to happen to your mind. But I'm just going to review these 4 agreements with you, because I think they are super powerful to kind of get you in a better headspace, a more positive outlook in life in general, and not share that stress and that negativity that you have maybe internally with your employees, with your family, So the first one is, be impeccable with your word. Speak with your integrity and say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or gossip about others, and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. So, that, I don't know, there was a song that words cut like a knife.
yes.
We're not even aware what we're saying. We're not always conscious about what we're saying or what's coming out of our mouth. But if you really listen, it's not always kind, right? So I always say, if you speak, you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. But the words you speak, make sure they are kind, make sure they are encouraging, make sure they're supportive, right? Because that's what helps you be a better communicator, helps you be a better boss, helps you be a better husband or wife or mother, father. I mean, just negative thoughts or being judgmental or just saying something negative. It could be the smallest little word, but that person, how it landed with that person could take it in a completely different way. And, it could be explode in some drama that really is not necessary. The second thing is don't take anything personally, because really, when people are cranky or they're negative towards you and they're spewing negativity towards you, it's really not about you. It's really about them, what's going on in their head, how they're feeling, how they had a bad day. So really, when you're immune to the opinion and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. So I love this
Yes.
agreement. Third agreement is don't make assumptions, right? You don't know what's in somebody's head. You don't know what they're thinking. I used to, when my kids went out and they were in high school and, it was late and they're past their curfew and they're like, what's running through my monkey mind? Oh my gosh, they're in an accident. They're dead. No, they're just, not here at curfew, right? They're just having fun. They will be home safe. So all these assumptions just add to more stress, which is really what we're trying to avoid doing, right? And the last one is always do your best, right? Because sometimes you've exercised, you've had your morning routine, you've had your quiet time, and you are ready to start the day full bore, Superman, Superwoman out there with your cape on, and you're going, and you are at 150%. And there are some days where you can barely get out of bed. I have a shoulder injury from tennis, which is sometimes it's super painful when I'm getting out of bed and I'm kind of like not feeling my best. And so maybe I'm running at 70% of what I could have been, the other day when I had my Superwoman cape on. But you know what? I'm still doing my best. Still trying. I'm still keep going. My grandmother is 100 on April 2nd, and her motto is just keep going. So
that's an excellent model to think of. But I think the biggest thing, it comes back to giving ourselves time to think.
Right.
Really think about our thoughts, what we want, and it comes back to that. And what happens is if you're on the hamster wheel, you're not going to do it. So
Right.
stop doing all the time and really spend some time in being and really setting that attention. It goes back to what you talked about at the very beginning of
Right.
that awareness, that perspective and legacy that you want to leave, to be able to leave it. Now, the
Yes.
challenge is you have to do it. You've got to block the time. You've got to get up 20 minutes earlier instead of making yourself 20 minutes late. Get up 20 minutes earlier to give yourself that time. Take that day and block that day, and don't let it get interrupted and say, what do I want to really ask? And then one of the things you can do is listen back through, because Maria gave us a lot of the questions that you need to ask yourself, and give yourself some time to really think about what you want. And then let it percolate and give it some time, and then start doing something, because like you said, it's not going to change overnight. I mean, my 75 pounds, I was a lot younger then, about 20 some years ago, my metabolism was stronger, but it still took over 11 months to make that happen.
Right.
Just think if you were consistent in something over this next year, I mean, wow, what a change people would see for themselves.
Right. It takes one step. It just takes that first step, and the baby steps and being consistent, that, 6 months from now, a year from now, if you reflect back, how different you become. Because once you change yourself, then the people around you change, right? You're the leader, you're setting the tone, you're setting the energy for your space and for leading, right? So if you make yourself better, think about how much better your business can be down the road, right? And your employees would be happier, and it would be joyful. It truly would be joyful.
Well, Maria, I appreciate you sharing that, because I'll be honest, I have a mastermind group, and they all are going to get a copy of this, because we were just at a live event together, and this is some of the things they need to hear. We were working on mastering your mindset, because that's your winning formula. And this really plays right into it, because it's about igniting your best self. And that kind of plays into what I wanted to share is her website is igniteyourbestself.com. So if you're interested and you like what you're hearing, what Marie's sharing and stuff, please go to her website, check it out. She's got on her website a free piece that's called Stress to Peace, that she's willing to give you. So that's right there on the website. If you scroll down, you'll see it. You just sign up there, and it's a PDF, I guess, that comes to them. Is that right?
Yes, it's a PDF. Yeah. It's just some quick tips on, hey, pick one thing. There's a whole list of stuff that you can do, from stress to piece, but pick one thing, be consistent with it, and see how your life changes. It's we always say common sense is not always common practice. We know all of this stuff. We know we're supposed to exercise. We know we're supposed to take some time out for ourselves. Have you blocked your 1 day away a quarter just to sit down with yourself and say, hey, I'm going to reset, I'm going to re-engage and come back stronger? Do we do it? Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't, but I'm going to challenge you to do it. I'm going to give you a challenge to say, hey, pick 1 or 2 things, go do it, come back 60 days, 90 days from now, see how you are different.
Yeah. And Maria and I are both high performance coaches, but we have to make an intention just like you have to. It's no different. We can get all this great information. We can have this certification that we're a high performance coach, but we have to do it to be able to continue that process. So that's the key, is for yourself. It's about making that intention and putting that time there. Maria, I appreciate you sharing all your great wisdom and stuff. And remember, that website is igniteyourbestself.com. So please check that out. And again, Stress the Piece is there. You can get that download that's there. Before I let you go, Maria, because we're coming up on that time, I want to ask you one question that I ask every guest. And that's the best business advice or tip that you would give to business owners and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I would say my best business tip is don't forget about your self-care, because the better you are, the better your business is going to be, the better your family is going to be, the better your relationships are going to be, the stronger you are, the better leader you're going to be. If you have clarity and you have vision, and the only way to get clarity and vision is to really take the time for yourself. Really love yourself first, and then you can love others even stronger, right?
Yes. Appreciate you sharing that and giving that great information. We're going to have Maria's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those links there is available to you. Her website will all be linked in show notes. Again, if you're getting it from your app, you can just scroll down. You'll be able to link right there to them. If you're going to a website, go to smallbusinessanswerman.biz. And you'll see that all the links will be on there and all the show notes that we have there. Lots of show notes that we're going to have, because she's given lots of wisdom for us to really think about. I always tell you, what's one action then from a podcast? And if I was doing this podcast, I'll be honest, it's one that I'm going to do, because I know I need it, is I need to set more intention. I need to set more block time for myself. I have certain blocks that are in there, but I need to have a specific block. I told you I do a morning routine, and I'm pretty consistent of that, but I need to set some more attention time to really think about some other things besides what I do in that block time that's in my morning routine. So you decide what that intention is for you, but that's the action I want you to take from the day. And again, some great information. If you would like and share this, because the thing is, somebody needs this podcast, and it would really make a difference to them, because they've told you that they've been stressed or they've been overwhelmed or whatever word they use. Share this podcast with them, because Marie dropped some great nuggets that really will get them to start thinking. And ultimately, that's what we don't have the perfect solution for you. The solution's in you. So that's what we want. Maria, thank you again for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Gary. It's been so much fun. And I wish all of your listeners much great joy, much great fulfillment and success.
Come back next week and we'll have another great guest. Thanks for joining us. Make it a great day.
That's all the time we have for this week. To continue your journey, head over to smallbusinessanswerman.biz to access the tools and resources mentioned in today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with someone who would benefit from listening. That's smallbusinessanswerman.biz. Until next time, remember, when you find the right solutions, your business grows and you get your time back.